take your seats as we begin to celebrate the life of our beloved sister. You are also reminded to please put your phones on silent or vibrate. Today we honor and celebrate the life of Mary Sandra Williams, affectionately known as Sandra, Nurse, Sandy Girl, Sandy, or Jaja. Today's celebration supports her family, friends, and all those who loved her dearly. On behalf of the family, I wish to extend these few words of thank you. On behalf of the family of Mary Sandra Williams, deepest gratitude is extended to everyone who is present here today. Your presence, prayers, your kind words, and shared memories have brought valued comfort during this difficult time. Losing Sandra has left a profound space in the lives of her family and friends. However, knowing that she was loved by so many has brought peace. May we all continue to hold on to the love and memories we shared, and may Sandra's spirit remain alive in all of us. Thank you, and may God bless all of you. The family also wishes to inform that the repast will be held at Aloes Farm in V4. I now welcome Mr. Jason Edgar, who will deliver the eulogy.
Yeah, I'm okay. Every time I remember my mother Sandra, I heard a soulful chorus of a song that moves me deeply. It goes like this: don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be all right. Yeah, that was Sandra. Always reassuring, always hopeful. She always believed deep in her heart that everything was going to be all right. She was born under the shadow of Gopiton, but stood strong like one herself. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to recognize my mother's husband, Mr. Paul Williams, cherished family members, distinguished guests, dear friends, colleagues, and all who knew and loved Mary Sandra Williams. We are truly grateful to each of you for being here as we celebrate and remember Mommy's life. My name is Jason Edgar, and I am the second son of Mary Sandra Williams. Now, I'm certain many of you gathered here today are hearing for the first time that her full name was Mary Sandra Williams. She once told me that she wasn't the only one named Mary. Several of her sisters also shared that name. A testament to their parents' deep faith and devotion to the Holy Family of Jesus Christ. But before I go further, I want to extend a special acknowledgement to family members who couldn't be here today but are connected through technology, sharing in the moment of remembrance and farewell. You may be miles away, but your heart is there with us. Today, we gather not only to mourn, but to celebrate the extraordinary life of my mother, Sandra Williams, formerly Sandra Edgar. Sandra was a woman of strength, love, and unwavering faith. She departed from this world on the 11th of April, leaving behind a legacy etched not just in the hearts of her family, but in the very foundation of the medical community and the countless lives she healed and uplifted. Allow me to take you back to where it all began, that place of peace and rugged beauty at the base of Gopiton, called L'Enfant. Sandra was born there on August 9, 1954, though some records might disagree, but that is just a reflection of that particular era. She came into the world in this serene and breathtaking part of Delse, nestled beneath the shadow of Gopiton. It was, and still is, a place of both beauty and quiet strength, just like the strong, gracious soul we all came to know. Sandra was the daughter of the late Eustace and Beryl Edgar. She was one of many siblings, a large, vibrant family with deep roots. From that generation, we have siblings Johnson, Mabel, Samuel, Cornelius, Paris, Mary Justine, Mary Marilyn, Francis, and Francisca. And we also remember and honor the memory of those who have passed before her, the late Gregory, the late Bibiana, and the late Audrey, all of whom shared those early formative years together. Her childhood was truly as extraordinary as the landscape that shaped it. This was long before the glow of screens, no electricity, no internet, certainly no video games. The nearby river was the lifeline of the community, crayfish hunting, washing clothes, and just cooling off. One story Mommy recalled vividly and confirmed by Auntie Marilyn and Uncle Francis speaks volumes about the unique challenges and character of life back then. It involves the Rolling Stones. And I don't mean the band, the musical band Rolling Stones. I mean real giant boulders from Gopiton. You see, growing up at the foot of Gopiton meant facing nature's fury. During heavy rains, giant boulders would come tumbling down. And one night, as the family fled, my grandmother grabbed what she thought was a child, only to find out it was the family's coal pot. Thankfully, Sandra and her siblings were safe, a funny reminder of the protective love that shaped her early years. Sandra attended the Leserton Combined School. From a very young age, it was clear that where her talents lay. While many of her siblings, boys and girls alike in these days, were adept at scaling mango trees or racing through the fields, Mommy showed a distinct aptitude for academics. She was the thinker, the reader, the one whose mind explored distant landscapes. But don't mistake her bookishness for timidity. Auntie Marilyn loves recounting this story. You see, back then, catching a ride to school meant first hopping onto vans, moving, a skill that required split-second timing like a gymnast, and then leaping off as they neared the school gates. It was their daily ritual. One day, as the Edgar siblings hopped off near their usual stop, Sandra froze. The van carried her all the way to Fondue. When it finally stopped, how did she get down? With typical Sandra ingenuity, she spotted a woman below, placed her foot squarely on top the poor soul's head, and stepped down as if it was the most natural ladder. Not her finest athletic feat, but proof that where agility faltered, wit and intellect triumph. The tendency to think before leaping led her towards a true calling. Though she explored teaching for a brief period, it was really in nursing she found her definitive path. After graduating, she served alternatively between the Out Districts and the St. Jude Hospital. I have a vivid personal memory of this period, a clear picture of her working at the Monrouge Health Center, which was situated directly opposite the Mongush Combined School, where I was a young student. Seeing my mother in a uniform filled me with a quiet pride even then. However, the cornerstone of a long and distinguished nursing career was St. Jude Hospital. For many years, in fact decades, St. Jude was a second home. She didn't just work there, she excelled. She rose through the ranks, leading with quiet authority in both the emergency room, where she steadied frantic nights with a calm, and the outpatient clinic, where her smile put anxious patients at ease. As a midwife, she guided countless mothers, bringing new life into the world with capable, gentle hands. Her legacy lives in the generations she nurtured and the colleagues she inspired. Over the past few days, we've been reminded just how far her legacy reached. One message we received reads, "Rest in peace, Nurse Williams. I had the privilege of her caring for me, such a loving and caring soul." Another wrote, "She was my firstborn's nurse, and I love her dearly." These stories aren't just tributes, they're testaments to who Sandra Williams was, someone who gave not just her skills, but a heart. Beyond these messages, we also wanted to share a few specific memories that illustrate Mommy's extraordinary impact. Even when she wasn't on shift, Sandra Williams' heart never clocked out. Angela Francis and her friend Teten both remember calling Sandra in the middle of the night, only to have her rush, uniform or not, to be by the bedsides for the safe delivery of their babies. She wasn't even working that night, Teten recalled, but she came to see me deliver. In her years at St. Jude, your mother was one of the best, precious, sweet, loving, and kind. And Sinette Tommy, who was not only a colleague, but considered herself Mommy's adopted daughter, recalled how they would often slip away to the St. Jude Chapel at lunchtime, sometimes for Mass, sometimes just to meditate or pray together. She had that nurturing spirit. And as I read through the tributes, one thing stood out to me. The number of people who spoke of her as if she was their own, like their adopted mother. And that says so much. That says so much. Sandra Williams, our mother, sister, friend, was someone who showed up day after day, not just for family, but for strangers who became friends and patients who became family. In her final moments, she was surrounded by that same spirit of care she had embodied for decades. And how fitting that some of the very doctors and nurses she mentored early in their careers were there to provide her care, caring for her with the same dedication and compassion she had shown others. Our family extends our deepest gratitude to the doctors, nurses, and medical staff, particularly those of St. Jude who cared for Mommy, both throughout her career and especially during her final days. Your compassion and dedication mirrored her own, and we are forever thankful. While Sandra's hands healed countless patients, her heart always found its way back to her family. She was first the proud mother of Leroy, the firstborn, and myself, Jason, and later through her enduring partnership with Mr. Paul Williams, a deep bond that spanned nearly 5 decades, she welcomed Oran, Ashlyn, who many know as Kima, and Shakira, who many know as Akiba. Their marriage in 1997 formalized a deep, lifelong devotion. And from this nurturing foundation, she extended that same love to Nyla, Ed, Janine, and Brian, whom she raised in Cedar Heights with the same boundless love as her biological children. Each child brought her immense joy, and she spoke with such pride about Leroy, myself, Oren, about Kima and Akiba, cherishing the unique spirit and qualities within each one of us. Her deeply nurturing nature, strong sense of responsibility, and boundless love extended far beyond her own children. Uncle Francis recalled how, when their mother Ai passed away, Sandra just naturally became like a second mother to him. Even during illness, the family turned to her. She was the matriarch of the family, and she taught values by example: faith, hard work, and the power of family. Mommy's courage shone through every trial. Her husband, Mr. Paul, reflecting just days ago, captured it perfectly. He said, "Boy, Jason, your mother was strong. She was assertive. She didn't tolerate foolishness, but was always respectful." My sister Kima echoed these fundamental qualities, simply saying, her greatest strength was a strength. And it was true. Whether facing boulders tumbling from Gopiton or life's own rolling stones, like that traumatic car accident which tested her resolve, she met every challenge with unflinching courage. Yet this strength was balanced by a gentle, warm, and welcoming demeanor, a defining quality we should hold on to. She might have appeared reserved initially, unassuming, but beneath that composure was an open heart, ready to connect. She spent hours connecting with relatives, and her nursing instinct extended to anyone in need. She had her own unique philosophies too. She believed firmly in presenting oneself well, regardless of inner turmoil. We must never look like we feel. She'd advise, dress well, smile, and go brave. It wasn't about pretense, but about facing the world with dignity and courage, a quiet defiance against letting circumstances diminish your spirit. Her quiet faith sustained her. And she had a lighter side too. She loved music, especially the oldies, Diana Ross, Anita Baker, also a favorite of mine, Lionel Richie, those artists whose melodies fill your heart and your home. She loved a good joke, and her laughter was infectious. She wasn't perfect. Apparently, a little clumsy at times, prone to the occasional stumble or fall. And when she did, without missing a beat, she would cry out, "We foot!" Et puis après ça, maman te ka commencé ka wikoy. That infectious laughter was a way of reminding us not to take life or ourselves too seriously sometimes. She cultivated close friendships with people like Stella, Jove, Lucina, Angela, and Yo-Yo. Relationships that undoubtedly brought her joy and companionship throughout her life. As I reflect personally, she reminds me a lot of my own character. And if you'll permit me, I'd like to expand on this just a little bit. While I spent more time with my paternal grandmother than with mommy, we always kept in touch. She was my personal and medical advisor, my ever-present source of comfort and practical wisdom. And when I was sick, my first instinct was always to call her. A calm voice, a nursing knowledge, a maternal reassurance, it was the best medicine. I remember one particularly excruciating experience after a minor surgical procedure. The pain was intense, relentless. I felt helpless. I called Mommy. She listened carefully, then calmly told me what to do. Simple, practical steps. I followed her instructions, and within half an hour, maybe even less, the unbearable pain had subsided. It felt like magic. But it was just Mommy. Her knowledge, her care, her ability to soothe not just physical ailments, but the panic that often accompanies them. Kima shared a similar memory of being dropped off at school in Trinidad, feeling overwhelmed and wanting to come back home just after a week. Mommy didn't dismiss her fears. She listened. She reassured her that everything would be all right and that she was strong enough. And as Kima said, it was. It was. Mommy was always there, a phone call away, a steady presence reinforcing her own capabilities. That quiet confidence she projected, that reassurance she gave Kima, her belief that things would ultimately be okay, perhaps is best summed up in the simple, hopeful words of Bob Marley. Everything's gonna be all right. And that is the message I want to share with you today. Yes, Kima, everything is gonna be all right. Akiba, everything is gonna be all right. My brothers and my sisters, even in our grief today, everything is gonna be all right. That was Mommy's belief. And that's a sentiment she truly lived by. What will I miss the most about Mommy? That really is an impossible question. I'll miss her calm, her soothing voice, her laugh, her advice, her presence. But perhaps most profoundly, as Kima articulated so perfectly, we will miss the way she guided, protected, and loved her family. As we navigate this time of loss, sometimes we find unexpected moments that feel like quiet reminders. There's one moment I need to share. A moment that felt like the universe itself pausing, paying tribute to Mommy. On the night Mommy passed, as I latched my door, a tremor shook Castries. Many felt it across St. Lucia, yet it left no trace on the earthquake detectors. As fleeting as a breath, but unmistakable to those who felt it. The next morning, I opened my daily word puzzle. The answer? Nurse. And in the days surrounding her passing, I was struck by the combination of dates woven around this moment. Mother's Day just a week ago, International Nurses Day, honoring the vocation she cherished a week ago, and Easter, a season of renewal, a truth she embodied in her care for others. Some might call it coincidence. I choose to see it as a quiet reminder that her light, her love, her legacy ripple far, far beyond what we can measure. Today, May 19th, the very same day and date on which Sandra's own mother, Ai, was laid to rest years ago, we are reminded of the bond between mothers and their children. Fittingly, it comes just after Mother's Day, like I said a week ago. Today, we bid farewell to somebody born in the shadow of the Pitons, whose quiet courage and grace outshone even those majestic peaks. Sandra Williams, nurse, matriarch, guiding light, showed us how to face life's rolling stones with resilience and to love fiercely through it all. Like the Pitons that watched over her childhood, she remains a pillar of hope in our lives. Her light may have dimmed the way from this world, but it shines on in the countless lives she touched, in the family she raised, and in the love that binds us all. Mommy, your journey on earth is complete. Mommy, you kept the faith. You fought the good fight. You finished the race. Now, rest in internal peace. May we all carry forward your courage, your compassion, and your unshakable belief that everything is going to be all right. Mommy, everything is going to be all right. I thank you.
Amen, church. We ask the family to gather to the back of the church as we begin our funeral mass to celebrate the life of our beloved Mary Sandra Williams. For those of you standing at the back, there are some empty seats to my right, which is your left.